So we left off here. Remember, we're just first using our sketch, which is our original sketch here. We did use a square and we cut out these sides so that it'll be easier for us to dimension and finalize that sketch. Then, of course, we extruded our model and we're able to get this model, which is just the first steps of completing this. So now we are on this step where we are selecting this face and we are sketching these two circles. One thing that will help you is drawing this line in between, which is a construction line. So we're going to click the face, we're going to start a sketch. We can use these arrows to help us get closer. This construction line will help as far as us finding the midpoint. I'm going to change that to a construction line. Okay, then we're going to draw two circles. So all I'm doing right now, I drew a construction line in the middle, I drew two circles on the side, and now I'm going to add these dimensions. With these dimensions, it says that they're 1.5 away from each other. I found that the easiest way to do this is to make them, instead of 1.5 away from each other, that you just make them half of that from the center point. With that, if you don't want to do the math, you can always say 1.5 divided by 2. You'll get 0.75. I can do that for both sides. 0.75. Good. I can also add a relationship in between these. So I can add these to be horizontal. And then I'm going to add this height here. And that's going to be 0.707. Good. From there, we're going to extrude through all. Extrude, remove, and that depth is going to be blind through all. Now we see that we're able to add that hole. From here, we get into the fun stuff. So we're going to add a cut here. The end result is a cutout piece at the top. All that is starting a sketch right on the top view right here. You can move this a little more closely, looking at it like this drawing here. So if you see here, this is going to be, I'll zoom in for you. 1.25 by 0.25. That's really just a sketch here. It's a little tricky when you're doing this. Remember that you can use this as your center point. You can add another construction line if you want to. Remember to turn that into a construction line. Then from here, oh, come on. There we go. Now we have our rectangle here. All I did was add a center line, which is going to be a construction line, then added a rectangle. What we can help with this point too is we can add a midpoint where we can click this line and the construction line, and we can make that a midpoint. So now we're going to add our constraints, which is 0.25, excuse me, 2.5. Yep, no, 0.25. And then our width is going to be 1.5. That did not help. My midpoint didn't work, but that's fine. We can do it a different way. I can use my constraints. I can click the left side of this line. I can click the midpoint line. All we're going to do is just make this half of 1.25. So 1.25 divided by 2, not star, 1.25 divided by 2. And now that's a midpoint and everything is even. Okay. Now with that, I'm going to extrude cut up to vertex. All that means is that I'm going to extrude cut up to this next face. So I can go to extrude. I'm going to go to remove. He's already done it actually, where it's extruded up to this face, right? But if I wanted to, I can say up to face, and I can click this bottom face, and you see that it extrudes cuts right to that face. I'm done. So we made the holes, we made this cut. We're going to keep it trucking, and we're going to do the same cut or similar cut on the bottom here. That means we're going to use this face right here. Okay. Knowing that these are going to be equal, you can use a well, really you're just going to use the same dimensions to redraw this. So we can just zoom back in here to remember what those dimensions are. I'm going to click this face. I'm going to start the sketch. I'm going to go into my top view again. I'm going to do this one a little faster because I've already shown you how to do it once. Excuse me. I'm going to, again, add a line. I'm going to turn that into a construction line. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Remember, it's at the bottom lip right here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. If it's at an angle, I want to catch myself and make sure that it's all 90-degree angles. That's closed. Then I'm going to go ahead and start dimensioning. So this is 0.25. Again, the width is going to be 1.25. Now, only have my construction line here just to make sure that everything else is symmetric or symmetrical. 1.25. Oh, not tight. 1.25 divided by 2. Now everything's lined up. Again, go to my extrude cut. Now I'm going to be removing material. There's nothing else after this. I can just always click check mark. At this point, I've shown you extrude cut the holes, extrude cut these two faces. It's asking you to add fillets. So if you don't remember what fillets are, this is a fillet. Okay. I can select fillet and then select where I want to add fillets. So I can click fillet. I'm going to select the inside corners. And it even tells me the size of the fillet, which is going to be 0.032. 0.032. Remember, a fillet is just usually smoothing out a corner. With that, those are the two examples of a fillet to have me due to the model. I'm going to click check mark. You can see that there's now a smooth corner there. or there's not a corner anymore. Now it's just a smooth surface. Now I'm going to add a chamfer on the edges of these holes. Underneath the extrude features, I can click chamfer. I'm going to click the edge of each of these holes. I'm going to add a chamfer that is 0.06. Chamfer is very similar to a fillet, except for a fillet is a smooth, the chamfer is at an angle. So you can think how exactly you see here. There's an angle now on the tips of those, on the edges of those circles. I'm going to click check mark. I've added a fillet to these corners. I've added a chamfer to the holes. At this point, I'm done. I'm going to save my work. You go into isometric view. You'll be able to see that it looks exactly like what we have here. I'm going to stop recording and take any questions.